All right. Good day, everybody. My name is Emmanuel, and today I will be teaching you how to get between 125 to 150 in your Duolingo English test. So basically, if you follow all of this process that I want to teach you, I can guarantee you that you will have a very good high score between 125 to 150 in your Duolingo English test. So let's go. So I'll be using the practice test to take you through the journey. So let's go. Okay. So, like I said earlier in my videos, that one of the advantage of Duolingo is that it allows you that even if you register for Duolingo today, you can actually take the test also today. And then another thing that you need to know about Duolingo is that it's in different phases. We have basically in three phases. We have the speaking, the listening, and the writing. Basically, so simple as that. Just like we have it in IELTS and every other test. But Duolingo is something that you don't need to practice for a month for you to pass Duolingo. No, you don't need all of that. In as much as you follow all the necessary procedure, it's very simple. A lot of people, call me and like, hey, I'm scared. I'm afraid to take the test. You don't have to be scared. Duolingo is one of the English proficiency tests that I've come across. Very easy to pass, unlike every other test. Yes, unlike every other test. So let's go straight to the point. So, like I tell people that before you take your major test, before you take the test, ensure that you practiced at least 5 to 10 times before you take your main test, because with that it helps you get familiar with the process. It helps you get familiar with the process. So, like I said, it helps you get familiar with the process. All right, so here we are. Let's go. So it's going to check my device. Like I said, ensure that if you're taking your test, ensure that the camera is working. So this part of the test is on the listening and then writing test. So it's telling us that what type the statements that you hear. So one of the things that I tell people is this, that before you click on this, because it allows you to replay twice. First thing first, type what you hear. Type what you hear before you exhaust your numbers of time left. So let's go. Don't let me keep you. So, like I said, the moment you click on start, the moment the voice comes out, first of all, type what you hear first before you then, replay, so that you will now do your corrections. That way, you are able to save time and move on to the next one. So here, it will tell you to type the missing letters to complete the test below. Of course, how do you solve this place? I always advise that you read the sentence. I call this place like a comprehensive, like filling the gap. Yes, I call this place filling the gap, filling the missing words, filling the missing letter rather. So how do you solve this place? Very simple. What you need to do is that ensure you read this and then be conscious of your time. Be conscious of your time. Yes, be conscious of your time. So you just have to fix in, you write what is supposed to be here. So let's try and see if you can do something here. Well, I just want to give it a try. So I was furious to hear that the city planned to tear down the old theater. She write a letter. Yes, she writes a letter. Sorry. She writes a letter to the editor of the local, yes, of the local, sorry, you can actually delete, of the local newspaper, okay, to express our feelings and opinions about this decision. Mainly, she expressed that she believed the theater was a city, yes, was a city landmark and a tourist attraction as well. Yes. So I've been able to solve this. Good. So how did I do that? You can see that I still have enough time left. You can see that I still have 53, that's about 1 minute left. Why? Because I'm able to, quickly, I am able to read through. Some of you, what you do is that you just go straight to the point, which is not supposed to be. At least you need to read what you are what you are saying, so that you need to know that if this thing actually makes sense to me, that I'm listening. Does it make sense? Can I hear if what I'm reading does it make any sense to me? You understand? So let's move on to the next thing. So here it tells you to select the real English words. Select the real English words in this list. So you just look out for. Now, how do you solve this place? What I used to tell people is this: that for you to solve this place is very simple. What you need to do is that start from the beginning here. Some of you just go straight to the what you first see. Maybe this is what I'm seeing first, darling. No, that way you will not be able to save time. You will not be able to save. So what you need to do first is that start with where the first line movement. You can then let's go movement, predict, efficiency, wise, unbelievable, darling, unity. I'm just showing there might be other English words that are actually correct. Universal, pregnant. So at least this is what I'm able to, at least I've been able to select something before the time goes off. So even if I can now go back and start doing, revisions, I move on to the next one. Okay. So here, what does it tell you? It says what? Write a description of the image below for 1 minute. It means that you are to describe this image. What you see here, you describe it and then you write it where? Here. What you see. So what are we saying? We can see a cat. What is the cat doing? Like I used to tell people, here is all about telling the story. Telling a story of what you can see. So that thing you can see, now put it in the story and write it down. Simple as ABC. I can see a cat here looking at the window, I can see a tree. Make sure that you pay attention to details. It's very, very important. So, and then you write whatsoever things that you see there. So I'll move on to the next one. Let me just write the cards. So just for me to be able to click on next. So that doesn't mean it's a cat. I just write that. So here it says, record yourself saying the statement below. The bacteria have evolved so that they are no longer affected by antibiotics anymore. It's very simple. Here, make sure that you are audible enough. So let's go. The bacteria have evolved so that they are no longer affected by antibiotics anymore. Also, you have to be very, very careful of your time. Yes, be conscious of your time. Don't forget, be conscious of your time. Like I said, you have 1 hour. You have 1 hour to do your main test. But then, make sure that at least you have practiced between 5, if not at least 5 times, so that you get yourself familiar with the test and the environment. Now, it says what? Type the statements that you hear. So like I said, before you click on this again, ensure that at least what you first heard, type anything that you heard first. Type it there. Then you can now do your correction. It says dogs often bury bones. That's what I heard. So at least I've listened to that, then I can play again. Okay, so I click on next. It says what? Record yourself saying the statement below. They are also disguised from plants by the lack of rigid words. So I'm just saying this. That does not mean you should pronounce it the way I'm pronouncing it. Of course, you can have a better pronunciation. They are also distinguished from the plants. Sorry, I just move on. All right, so select the real English words in this list. So like I said earlier, This part, you might have it come, you might come across this part maybe 2 to 3 times. Yes, it's part of the test. We have, like I said, we have the speaking, we have the listening, and we have the writing. So what do you need to do? Start from the first line here. Start from the first line. Start from the first line here before you move on to the second line, and then you now move on to the third line. So by then you have enough time left to do your revision of your correct English words. You understand? So I move on to the next one. This one, the same thing that we did there, you do the same thing here. I'm not going to do any, when you do your practice test, you can always do all of that. Under estimated. So I just go click on next. So that's what I had. You can't park there. So sorry. So I can click on next. It says the every so it's this one also record yourself. You record and then you click on next. That's what I hear. So first of all, type what I hear. Click on next. You can replay as much as I'm just trying to. I don't want to use a lot of time while explaining, because this, like I said earlier, these sections will come almost 3 to 4 times for you. How much could it possibly cost? The same thing that we have. I said I made mention it already. This, comes, then start with this, and then move on to this. Don't forget. So I'm just click on next. Okay, so the same thing that we have here, the same thing that you're going to do. Click on next. Don't forget what I said. Make sure that you read what you need to before you start answering the question. So we really want to help them. You click on next. So when does it come? So I can replay again as this is correct. So move on next. Click on next. Should be technical. I want to move on to the conversation side. Yes, that's why I have to click on next and next and next. Little by little, they spread further. So that I can be able to, I don't want this video to be too long for you. Thanks. So now we have moved to the interactive section. This is interactive reading. So here, now this side is an interactive section where they ask you, to choose to fit. Also, it still the same thing as filling in the gap, but they ask you to choose, whatsoever one that is correct. So from number one, you see, if you click on here, you see it there. So Ali was a bright child, and whatsoever that is, it a great and a happy stories, or whatsoever that it needs to be here. you just pick it up. So I'm just doing practice. It doesn't mean that loved or whatsoever. You choose your answer. So I can just choose Ali was a bright child, and so I'm just trying to wrap myself there. It's okay. So his parents. So I just want to do this so that I can click on next. Now here we are. So this side also says what select the passage. Select what sorry, select the best sentence to fill in the blank. So what you need to do is what? Now, what they gave you there, don't forget, the first test that we did, what they gave you there is what you also have here. So Ali was a bright child, loved story. Ali was a bright child and loved stories. So his parents, and all of that.